In this video, we're talking about the 17 things you need to know before moving to Bremerton, Washington. And we're getting after it right now. What's up, everybody? I'm Cassandra Lopez with RE/MAX Exclusive. I'm a local real estate agent here in Bremerton, Washington. Subscribe to the channel. Be sure to tap that little bell so you're notified when I upload my weekly videos. And honestly, I get calls all the time from people moving here from out of the area who've never been here before, and they want to know what it's like. And so if that's you, if you're relocating here or thinking about relocating here, be sure to shoot me a text, give me a call, email me, however you want to get a hold of me, and I got you when you're relocating to Bremerton, Washington. 17. It doesn't rain here as much as you guys think. I know Bremerton, or Washington in general, kind of gets a general bad rap for being miserable and cloudy and raining, and it rains 300 days a year and all this stuff. And it really doesn't rain here as much as you think. We get about 50-ish inches of rain a year on average. So it's doable, it's tolerable. Most of the time when it's not raining, it's kind of just cloudy. We do get 150 full days of sun a year, which is pretty amazing. We really, really love those. But if it's, it doesn't rain the rest of the time, it's just kind of cloudy. And number 16, if you're moving here from somewhere warm like Arizona or Texas or Florida, and you're used to having air conditioning in your home, only about 10% of the homes here have AC. So we don't really need it that much. We need it for maybe 2 to 3 weeks a year out of the summer. And a lot of people find that the cost to install it isn't really worth, needing it for 3 weeks a year. But if you absolutely have to have your air conditioning, there's definitely ways to have it done. We are seeing homeowners put in those ductless mini splits, which are those mini wall units that go up top. They're heating and cooling, and it has a little mini compressor outside. So that might be a good option for you if you're looking to install AC. If you already have the existing ducting with your forced air furnace, you may be able to use that for central air unit also. Number 15 is marijuana is legal in Washington State, if you weren't aware of that already. And it's everywhere. So you're gonna see it on all kinds of corners and all kinds of streets and everything, and it's all over the place. And they've got drive-throughs, and you have to be 21 to enter and purchase. So if you're obviously military or federal employee, that's totally off limits for you. Just so you're aware, that's going on. Number 14 is our traffic patterns are pretty predictable. The shipyard and the Navy bases get out just about the same time every day, between 2:30 and 4. So we have our regular traffic jams and traffic buildups on the freeways and some of the peripheral side roads between those times. Most of the time, the freeway's pretty clear. The traffic is pretty mild. We're pretty fortunate and a little spoiled, quite honestly, to have such favorable traffic. But don't be trying to go into Port Orchard from Bremerton at 4 o'clock. You'll be stuck in the shipyard traffic for a while. Number 13 is the cost of living in Bremerton. So some people might think that Bremerton is pretty expensive if comparatively where you're coming from is relatively inexpensive. So we are a little bit higher on the scale as far as cost of living, housing and gas and travel and all that stuff. But we're about half of what it looks like to live in Seattle, housing wise. Median home price in Bremerton for a purchase is about $400,000, and it's creeping up to about $800,000 in Seattle. So it is a little higher than probably where you're coming from, unless you're coming from like San Diego, San Francisco, Hawaii. Those are really, really expensive places to live. Parts of New York. So just be prepared for that. If you're military, your housing allowance will increase based on your geographic area. So we have one of the highest housing allowances for our military in this area, so you should be just fine. Number 12. Bremerton is a safer town than you may think. I heard all the rumors too when I moved here 21 years ago. I had never been here. I had the same thoughts, like it rains all the time, it's miserable all the time, it's cloudy. I heard Bremerton is nothing but crime and it's horrible and all this stuff. I heard all of it. And after having lived here for 21 years, I can tell you that it's definitely not the knife and gun club. There are no neighborhoods you need to avoid or don't be caught walking in after 9 p.m. There's none of those neighborhoods. So we're not a big metropolis. We're not a huge city that you need to be aware of. We don't have gang violence. We don't have any of that. So there's going to be some theft. There's going to be some petty crimes. There's going to be some homelessness. There's going to be something, because there always is, no matter where you go. But it's definitely not as bad as people make it sound. Number 11 is the locals don't use umbrellas. I have an umbrella, and the only time I use it is at my son's soccer game. I don't want to stand there in the puddles in the rain getting hammered in the rain, but most of the time it's just a hoodie or a jacket with a hood, because I need both of my hands. I have 3 kids and 2 dogs and 2 cats, and I'm a really busy real estate agent, and I don't have space to carry an umbrella while I'm trying to manage all of other stuff. And it's rain. You're not going to melt. Number 10 on the list is Bremerton and Kitsap County in general is super pet friendly. And we have a ton of outdoor stuff going on. And so a lot of people have dogs and stuff that they can take on trails or hiking or whatever. We have a ton of boutique pet stores. So there'll be like an organic pet store, and we have lots of fun little pet groomers, and we have mobile pet groomers who will come to your house and all kinds of fun stuff like that. So if you have a pet, or if you're thinking of getting a pet, super pet friendly. There's pet stores all over the place, dog parks all over the place, and trails and hiking and all that good stuff. Number 9 is summer doesn't start here until after the 4th of July. And that's kind of a running joke with all of the locals here, because spring is really cool. It's the wetter season, so it's really cool, really damp. And even into May, you're waking up to 50 degrees and wearing hoodies and beanies and gloves if you are really intolerant to the cold like I am. And so, April showers bring May flowers. We get the May flowers, we get the beautiful blooms and all that, but we just don't get to go outside that much and enjoy it because it's still so bloody cold. So June rolls around, it starts warming up, and then summer really gets going after the 4th of July, where you can break out your tank tops and your shorts and your flip-flops and go to the lake or go to the ocean and enjoy the heat. Number 8. So I've talked a few times about how outdoorsy it is here and how accommodating this area is if you love to do your hiking and your bike riding and your horseback riding and your water sports and your boating. But what if you're not into the outdoor stuff? What if you would rather stay inside? We have arcades, we have breweries. In fact, Kitsap County has 18 breweries just on our little peninsula of Kitsap. We have game rooms, we have movie theaters and community theaters. So if you want to go see a live play, we have a couple of those. Libraries. Kitsap Regional Library is huge. There's, I think, 11 locations throughout the county. We have tons of those. Shopping and restaurants. So Bremerton has a ton of restaurants and a little bit of shopping. If you just go a little bit north to our neighbor Silverdale, Silverdale's huge for shopping. It's like one of the biggest retail outlets on the entire peninsula. We get people shopping coming from Sequim and Port Angeles all the way down an hour and a half just to drive into Silverdale to go shopping for holidays and stuff like that. So if you love to shop, love to eat, game rooms, arcades, theaters, breweries, all that stuff, we got you covered. Number 7. So we do get a little bit of rain. We do get a fair amount of clouds. What we don't get is snow. We get a little bit of snow every year. Occasionally we'll get a foot or 2 feet. Not even at one time. It's like over the course of the whole winter, it'll be accumulated 2 feet. And so we don't know how to react to it very well. We get people traveling here who are coming from these really snowy states like the Northeast or the Midwest, where they get just pummeled with snow every winter, and we're over here with our 2 to 3 inches at a time, and they close school. So, they are like, you guys don't know how to drive in the snow? You don't know, you close school? Like, what's that all about? Well, schools get closed because the buses have a hard time in the snow. And so that's why, because of transportation, mostly, we just want to make sure everybody's safe. But quite honestly, I think it's just we don't have enough practice. It doesn't snow enough here. We don't know what to do when it snows, and so we don't deal with it well. Number 6. So Kitsap County and Bremerton has a ton of Native American influence. In fact, the name Kitsap comes from a Native American chief from one of the local tribes. And so there are going to be rows and towns and cities that are named with these really ethnic Native American words that maybe we don't know how to pronounce, like Suquamish or Squim, and they're spelled not how you think they would be. They're not phonetic whatsoever. So there is a ton of local Native American influence here, and it's really kind of fun. They have their festivals, and they even have reservation land here. Number 5. So Bremerton and Kitsap County in general, we're surrounded by water on a ton of sides. It is a peninsula. And we have all these little micro peninsulas within. We have all these little channels. And so we love our boats. And so we have boat parades during the seasons. And so we have the 4th of July boat parade. And if you have any kind of waterfront or water view on Port Washington Narrows or Sinclair Inlet or Dyes Inlet, you are going to have the most phenomenal view of the 4th of July fireworks, because you get to see from all angles everybody's fireworks. And so it's really, really fantastic. And then in the wintertime for the holidays, they do like a Christmas time boat parade. And so all the boats will be all decorated and then go through the Port Washington Narrows. And so you can sit in your waterfront, water view apartment, condo, home and snuggle up with your blanket and your hot chocolate and stay nice and warm, but still get this really great view of all these boaters who are braving the cold and out there on the water, which is a good 10 degrees colder than anywhere else. And that brings me to number 4, which is the carriers, the aircraft carriers for our U.S. Navy. When they're coming and going, people line up on the shores and they'll just wave and they have their flags, and the entire shoreline is just lined with people just waving and saying bon voyage. Or if they're coming home, it's like welcome home after your 6 or 8 or 10 month deployment or however long you've been gone. And it's really, really cool. And if you're in the military or have been in the military, this is really kind of a great experience. I'm a military veteran, and so this one hits close to home for me, especially since I used to be stationed on a carrier. And so now I get to be on the viewing end instead of the I'm on my way out end. And it's really kind of spectacular to watch all of our sailors going off and doing their duty. Number 3 on the list is how ethnically diverse Bremerton is. And as far as the food is concerned, you are not going to miss out. Indian, Greek, Mexican, Italian, Chinese, Japanese, Thai, Vietnamese, anything you can think of, there's a restaurant for it, and it is so good. There are some great local spots that I personally enjoy, so if you want personal recommendations, I'd be happy to give them to you. If you are looking for a place to go out and eat and go out and explore and find some kind of really nice ethnic cuisine that you haven't tried before, we probably have that for you. And number 2 on the list is Bremerton is geographically really, really large. It could take you 30 minutes to get from one part of Bremerton to another part of Bremerton. And it's all the way from the really, really high density downtown area by the ferry and by the shipyard. You have your waterfront condos and your turn of the century home. It's very, very dense with small lots and a lot of homes. And then the more you spread out from there, it becomes a little bit more breathable. So you have more suburban neighborhoods when you get into East Bremerton and Central Kitsap. And that's actually where most of the new construction is. So we have all of these suburban-like neighborhoods as you move out of West Bremerton and you kind of expand beyond. And then when you get onto the western side of Bremerton out towards Seebeck is when you're going to find your acreage. So those are going to be your larger lots, half acre, 2 acre lots that are a little bit more rural and a lot less suburban and definitely not high density at all. And the number 1 thing that you're going to find when you move to Bremerton is we don't have any bugs. I know that sounds weird. Like, why is that number 1? It's not number 1 for any particular reason. That's just how it landed on the list. So I know a lot of people coming from the South or the Midwest, you're dealing with summertime bugs and a million mosquitoes and all that stuff. And you get here and we don't have any bugs. It's just a cooler climate. They don't like it. We do have mosquitoes, but those are manageable. Like, we don't have cicadas, we don't have crickets. That one kind of bums me out because I did love falling asleep to the crickets when I grew up in California. So you can go out boating, bike riding, and you're not going to get any bugs in your teeth. If you want to know more about what it's like to live in Bremerton, Washington, be sure to subscribe to the page, tap that little bell so you're notified every time I do a new video. And if you have any video topics that you want me to cover, leave it in the comments below and I'll be sure to do a video about it and I'll give you a shout out. See you soon, guys.